So as the smoke behind the events begins to clear a bit and some of the motivations emerge, you guys build toward a March story, background, or a TikTok, as they're kind of called in the trade, that seeks to really explain what was behind these amazing events. Give me a sense of what's going on in the reporting during those couple of months.
Nick, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I can take that one. I mean, yeah, it's yeah. So I think I know which story you're referring to. So basically, I mean, look, early on there was one narrative. Very quickly, there's like two competing narratives, which is this is purely Carlos Ghosn's wrongdoing, or this is a plot by Nissan because Carlos Ghosn is planning a merger. And so really, it's just like, you know, the two narratives are not necessarily mutually exclusive, and it's just trying to find as many documents as you can to see which one of these things is true. And at the beginning, we didn't have a whole ton of documents, but I guess as you know, by the time we get to March, we did start to have a lot of emails, you know, bank transfers, like various other documents, which kind of help to stand up one or the other or both of these competing narratives. And so, you know, I guess we felt at that point that we had sufficient evidence to pretty strongly stand up, as I say, one or the other narrative. And that's how we got there. I mean, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah, Nick's 100% right there. It's just the one thing that had always stuck in this story is why it happened when it did, right? Why was Carlos Ghosn arrested when he was arrested? And to hear a lot of people within Nissan talk about it is, well, they just figured it out then, and somebody decided to blow the whistle then, and you know, anything that followed afterwards was all Carlos Ghosn's fault because he was a very naughty man. And you know, on the Renault side and elsewhere, a lot of people suspected that, well, it's because he was planning a merger. Obviously, that was why this happened. And it was too simple. Like, you know, so I mean, Nick did a lot of yeoman's work on this one, trying to nail this down, that the people, the group of 4 individuals who ultimately provided the prosecutors the evidence necessary to arrest him, were spurred on by this notion that Carlos Ghosn was planning to finally merge together Renault and Nissan. That was the sort of spark that triggered, you know, as one, you know, person that we talked to here in Japan said, it was sort of bubbling over of magma, that, you know, sort of the pressure had been building, and this, you know, sort of the anger and frustration with where Carlos Ghosn was heading with Nissan finally bubbled over and forced people to, not force people, but encourage people to sort of speak out and point fingers at things that they'd sort of seen that was the impetus for this. So we were able to show that it was really there was a corporate intrigue angle to this whole story.
And until this point, the beat reporters at Nissan simply weren't aware of this tension that was developing at the high ranks?
You're talking about the local press here?
Well, and the international business press.
And you, Sean, basically, were you not aware of this?
Look, I mean, there had been obviously a lot of press reports about, you know, Carlos Ghosn was thinking about a merger despite his public denials that was going to happen. And I think if you ask Carlos Ghosn today, he would still say, I wasn't planning a merger. This is not a merger, even though it's a merger. But the dissatisfaction with Carlos Ghosn, the fact that people were angry about where he was taking the company, I don't think that came through at all. I mean, look, like, you cover any company as a beat reporter, and there's going to be a large percentage of the people you talk to who think the CEO is an idiot and should be replaced, right? Like, it's part of the job. Like, you're going to break some eggs. So I think we all took whatever we were hearing about that with a grain of salt and just thought Carlos Ghosn had been at the helm for 20 years. He'd rescued that company. The company was doing well because of him, and he was ostensibly running two companies and then adding a third and performing well. And so everybody thought that he was Superman, and therefore the companies he was overseeing would follow wherever he wanted to lead them, because they always had. So I think we were all of us were genuinely shocked that this had happened. Nobody suspected any of this.
In hindsight, and I'm in France, so I'm a little bit further away from this, but in hindsight, I think you can look back and see that there were clues, right? In some of what Saikawa said, various other small clues that maybe all was not as happy camp as maybe we thought.
Saikawa was by this point the CEO of Nissan and more or less Ghosn's number two there, essentially. Is that right?
That's correct. He was his handpicked successor as CEO.
Right. So in a sense, personally, there's a bit of treachery involved here as well.
Well, I qualify, yes, but I should qualify that Saikawa found out about all of this in early October. So just over a month before the arrest happened. So that's the other weird thing about this is, I mean, it's a interesting debate to have over cocktails anytime with anybody, which way is better. So normally in the US, if you figure out that your CEO or the leader of your company or any top executive has done something bad, usually they handle that quietly within the board to protect the company, right? In this case, what made it so unusual is that a group of executives within Nissan found something that they thought was inappropriate, but didn't tell the board and didn't tell the CEO for months, and instead worked with prosecutors secretly. So that was one thing that was really unusual, and I think contributed to the whole surprise angle of this, because you can't, if you sort of bring this to the board, I would have heard about it, right? Mm-hmm. Or if they brought it to Renault's board, Nick would have heard about it, right? So that's part of it, is that they went direct to the prosecutors, and it was just done completely in secret. Like literally four people at Nissan knew what was happening with the prosecutors.
These were executives below the level of the CEO, Saikawa.
Correct. Yeah. So Saikawa was not told until early October.
Right.
I know there's been some debate about that, but yeah, that's our reporting shows that it was early October that he was shown.